Hi Siberians, welcome again once again to my YouTube channel. So we've been doing certain labs on TryHackMe. Today we'll be focusing on the defensive security intro of TryHackMe. There's a free room you can also try as well. So we know cybersecurity is in the main it's in two forms. We have the offensive, we have this defensive. We have people who are also in between, but we'll not be talking about those ones today. Today we'll be discussing the defensive security intro on TryHackMe Lab. So what is about the defensive security intro? These people are mainly preventing and also detecting intrusions. So they are preventing intrusions from occurring, but also detecting intrusions when they occur and knowing how to properly respond when these intrusions happen. So with this particular lab, some of the tasks that are related to it is to focus on user awareness, knowing how to document and manage your inventory, like your assets that you have, how to keep your operating systems, your systems up to date with patching, how to set up preventive security devices, like how to enable your firewalls, how to use your tools like the intrusion preventing systems to critically prevent security, to critically use them to prevent intrusions, also using firewalls to filter out traffic, and then also setting up logins and monitoring these devices. So some of the defensive security fields we have is not just the security operations center that we know of. That's the SOC that everybody is well familiarized with. No, we have threat intel, we have digital forensics and incident response. We equally have the malware analysis. So which team focuses on the defensive security? These people are the blue team, what we call the blue team. Offensive people are what we refer to them as the red team. There are people in between, they are referred to as purple team. But for the sake of this particular lab, let's discuss the areas of defensive security, and that is taking us to the task 2 of this particular lab. So in this task, we will be covering up two main topics that are related to this defensive security, and that is the security operations center, where you are going to look at more of threat intel within the security operations center, and also for digital forensics or incident response, where you also cover malware analysis. So for digital forensics, they are just not there to help you recover data that are embedded or data that are remaining on your hard disk or hardware. No, they can also help analyze malwares as well. So a security operations center is a team. When you hear of SOC is not a standalone profession on it or no. It's a team of cybersecurity professionals. So the security, that's why it's called the center, security operations center. It consists of several cybersecurity professions, and their purpose is to help you monitor your network and collect systems data to help detect security events. So what these SOC they do is to help with vulnerabilities. When we say vulnerabilities, they are simply weaknesses we find in our systems. So they are loopholes we find in our systems. So we have another one called the policy violations. Do you understand? Every system or every network setup follows or should abide by particular rules and regulations. So if it goes out of not abiding or not being compliant with what has been set for it to do, it's a violation to the policy. Do you understand? So if a company should upload certain confidential data online, it is termed as violation. Do you understand? You've broken something called confidentiality, and it's also violating a particular um, policy. If you are from the health sector, that will be the HIPAA. Okay, so we also have some main areas of the SOC, that is the or not to find out fish out unauthorized activities. So whenever you fish out certain behaviors that are out of the norm normal. That is also something the security professionals within the SOC team can also help monitor and detect. So, for example, if your system is used to consuming about 5 gigabyte of RAM a day, then one day you realize that your system is now consuming about 50 gigabytes an hour, you know that something is wrong somewhere. There could be something happening, it could be so many things. That's why you start to think, I might be attacked. Is there a virus? Is there a DDoS attack happening to my system? What is overwhelming my system? What is eating up my CPU? Do you get it? So that is trying to find things that are out of the norm. And another is to consider a case where you have your login name or your password being stolen, and an attacker is trying to use them to log in. So you have to detect and block it. We also have the intrusion, that is trying to figure out what is a malicious link to exploit a particular public server. Now let's move on to the threats intel aspect of it. When we say intelligence, what do we refer? Intelligence is mainly to gather data, trying to find the evidences, gather as much as data that you will use, because it's based on this data that you are going to make informed decisions towards certain adversaries. Okay, so that is where data intelligence come in. You are dealing with a lot of data, you are gathering data, and the threat here is any actions that could harm you or that could disrupt our normal operations. So when we say threat intelligence, then we are gathering the necessary data about a particular threat that could disrupt what our normal operations. Okay, so we that will also help us make informed decisions to be able to what defend against them. So intelligence basically they need data. Now let's look at this digital forensics as already explained. The digital forensics and incident response covers three main things. It covers digital forensics itself, it covers incident response, and lastly covers malware analysis. So for digital forensics, there are different focus in that area. There are the file systems, you have system memory, you have system logs, and also network logs. Now with incident response, there is this particular phase or cycle that every incident response plan goes through. If you don't know, let me tell you. So we have the preparation, we have the detection and analysis, containment and eradication, post incident activity. Each and every step of this cycle is equally important. Do you understand? Because this is where you know how to gather proper data, use it for future purposes. So if you're able to contain it or eradicate without knowing or without picking any lessons from this entire incident response plan, that becomes an issue. The same way, if you don't also prepare and then you attack, that is also an issue. Do you get it? So you containing, eradicating, or recovering without analyzing the data or without detecting and analyzing it properly is also an issue. So that is why there is this cycle, and it's a phase which goes over and over again, each of them depending on one another. None is a standalone on its own. They depend on each and every one of them in that particular circle. So you prepare before. So that is the proactiveness of on your side. Prepare, detect and analyze. So when an incident happens, you have to confirm whether indeed an incident has happened. Analyze the kind of incident it is. Then you contain it. Where has it gotten to? What is the height of it? You contain it wherever it is. After which you now eradicate that particular incident, and then you try to recover your lost data or where your data might have been paused or halted. Then we have the post incident activity. After everything, what did you do next? That is what comes with documentation and lesson learned. What did you learn about the data you gathered? What are you going to do better with the data you now have? Okay, so we have malware analysis also, where for malware we know different types of malware. We have ransomware, we have viruses, we have Trojan, we have so many kinds of malwares available. Okay, we have rootkits. All these are kinds of malware, and with different behaviors, they will all behave differently. So to analyze malware, we normally use two means. We have the static analysis and also the dynamic ones. Static one for inspecting malicious programs, whilst the dynamic for running in a controlled environment. So what would you call a cybersecurity professional that monitors a network and its system for malicious events? That would be the Security Operations Center. They are the ones responsible for this. And what does the DFIR stands for? We just looked at it from above. The DIFIR stands for the Digital Forensics and Incident Response. And then the last question would then be, what kind of malware requires the user to pay money to gain access to their files? So that is asking you of ransom. That's ransomware. Now to the final task. This one requires you to open or view a particular site. But before that, you're going to look at certain examples of defensive security. What are some of the examples of defensive security? How do you defend yourself? One of the common tools we use to detect and defending ourselves, a security tool, is the popular CM tool, which is also called the Security Information and Event Management tool, which is normally used to gather related information, gather as much data, and then from that data you can use it to perform your analysis or perform a response or an action. So if a CM is able to detect something suspicious, then an alert is generated. Okay, so sometimes not all alerts that the CM also generates becomes malicious. The fact that an alert was made by a CM does not mean it is always malicious. That is why you, as a cybersecurity personnel, you will need to analyze and investigate that threat to confirm whether it's indeed an incident or not. Okay, so let's view our site. That will be to simulate a CM system, to provide you with a hands-on training. So if you are doing this lab with me, kindly open that view site and then let's do the practice. That is where we're going to find the last flag for our last question. Yes, so I think we've gotten our flag now, and that is what you're going to be using. So in this lesson, what we have been able to achieve is we've discussed the different subfields. We've discussed the SOC, that's the Security Operations Center. We've discussed the threat intelligence. We've discussed malware analysis, and then what's digital forensics and incident response, and experience what's the first hand how to deal with alert in the simulated CM tool. If you've not done this lab, kindly do this lab as we are going. So you have to view the site and then try to find a flag. So what this action is doing, you have to perform it like a static site on the right side of your screen. That's what is going to open for you, and they've already given you the format of the flag we are using. If it's not in that particular format, know that that's a wrong answer. That's not the right answer. Okay, so yes, that is what we'll be looking at. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video to the end, and subscribe for more interesting labs coming on this particular channel. Do well to subscribe, share this with other beginners in cybersecurity that this might be of help to. Thank you.